Alright guys, we have come to the finale of this show that I've covered week by week, but it's just crazy that we're here. It just has flown by, and then when I look at the math, and I'm like, wow, we've been watching this a long time. We've been on this journey a long time, and it's over, guys, until summer of 2015, I believe it is. So, let's talk about the finale of The Strain, titled The Master. Guys, gals, and everything in between, I have to welcome you to my wallow hobby. Felt like doing it here, I don't know, keeping it fresh. I like to move sets around a lot, as you know. So, guys, The Strain, wow. I don't know about you guys, tell me if I'm just crazy, but I thought the episode was going to be a 2-hour season finale, and I was watching it and it ended, and I was like, wait, what? What? Already? I mean, I knew where the book ended, so as you're getting closer to that ending, you're like, oh man, it happened, it's over, and wow, that was a good conclusion to the saga, well, obviously because they followed the book. The only thing that really changed was that Zack was along for the ride in the final conclusion. But everything came full circle in this one. You're seeing where all the characters are going to be in The Fall. The second book, if you don't know, is titled The Fall. So in theory, Season 2 should be titled The Fall. And guys, yeah, there's gonna be a fall. You know, everyone's kind of on a low note on this one, and I like that they did that. That, you know, that this is true. I mean, this is what happened in the book, is basically, in the first book, everybody loses. The vampires lose, the humans lose, and humanity just dies, pretty much. Aldrich Palmer is pretty much, you know, he's better, but he's not cured. And he's bought himself a little bit of time, so he's gonna really show the Master how it's done. And he's going around, and there's just that really creepy scene where you see him like silhouetted, and he takes the girl out to talk to her, and he's like silhouetted behind the curtains, and as Eichhorst is like, oh, it looks like they're almost finished, he just picks her up and throws her off the balcony. And you're just like, oh, it looks just creepy. And I loved that. I was creeped out by that because I was like, ew, that just looks real and scary. Ultimately, they use it to bully the other guy and say, okay, so this is how it's going to be done. And that really is just the facts, dude. So you might as well just surrender. And he's like, alright, I don't want to be thrown off a balcony too. It doesn't look fun. Now, all the pieces are being put into place. F has decided, you know, we gotta teach our child, because essentially Nora's gonna have to adopt him. That's not really a spoiler. She sort of already has, as every time something happens, she seems to be hugging Zack or something. And basically, Nora's protecting him, says to F, you know, we have to prepare your child for this war. And so Satrakian and him give him a sword, and they teach him how to use it. And you can see it's hard on F, and it's really bogging him down, but he's got to do it. And Satrakian's trying to give him some lessons, and you could tell that bothers F. And I was like, dude, life is over as we know it. Just teach him how to kill things. Ultimately, that's what they have to do. And as they're preparing, they have to also go on reconnaissance. So Fett and him go on recon, and you can kind of see where they're bonding a little bit, and that's good, because in the books, they all got along pretty much right off the bat. And I've wanted to see them get along right off the bat. So I was seeing the F and the Fett that I know from the books as they're going through the speakeasy to go into the theater, and I just love that line where he basically sees the theater that was bought out by Gabriel Boulevard. He's like, that gothic prick, I think it was, he said. And yeah, I just had to laugh, because it's like, I hated his character in the beginning. Like, he did a good job portraying a douche. So when he was just like, that gothic douchebag, or whatever he said, it was just perfect. I was like, yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. They see where the Master's lair is, and that was just creepy in itself. I think one of the creepiest scenes for me with that was all of a sudden you just see one of the vampires like rise up, and it was not like he's just waking up. It was almost like the traditional out of the coffin, where he was sitting there and he was just kind of like, and stuff, and I was like, oh god, get out of there now. They're leaving and stuff, and Fett is smart, so he leaves the little drain open so they can't get past the sunlight if they're trying to get through the speakeasy. And I was like, Fett, you're thinking. Because Fett's really smart, and I love that they're conveying that in the series. Fett is a genius. He just decided to do rat killing and stuff because he enjoys it. He wanted to do what he enjoys, not just necessarily something he's good at, which he is good at rat killing. And so they're preparing for war. Ultimately, this episode is this first battle in this big war. But we go to Gus, and Gus is underground with the vampire army. Yes, it's safe to say, there are factions of vampires, and they're not like the Twilight ones where they're like, at least the dispute with the Cullens is over. And he's like, no, they have something I want. No, these guys are sitting there in their, like, Spec Ops outfits and their crossbows, and they were like, you basically have no choice, but you're going to join our war, and we are going to kill our enemy, and we will win. Basically, and you're just like, oh, you're freaking badass! And I loved it. So cool. And he goes into the tunnel and that little basement area, and he sees the Ancients, and they're sitting there asleep, and basically that vampire that we've been following around sometimes is essentially speaking for the Ancients, because they're asleep in their wonderful little slumber. And they need Gus to fight during the daytime for their side, and he's basically like, why should I do this for you? And they're like, well, basically, you're gonna get money and you're gonna kill things. Of course, Gus is gonna take it, and which is why Gus is so cool, is because ultimately, he's one of the leaders of the vampire army. How is that not cool? You could put that on a job resume, right? Oh, excuse me, Mr. Gus, so you like a job at Boeing. Well, let's see here. You went to jail a few times, but oh! You fought alongside vampires, and you basically led a vampire army. No college degree? Ah, whatever. You fought with vampires. That's pretty cool, dude. You're in. Salary, medical benefits, free college. You don't even need college, whatever. You're just own the company. He's so cool! I love Gus. He's one of my favorite characters. I'm glad that Guillermo del Toro made Gus such a strong character. I gotta tell you, Guillermo of the Bull, you have not disappointed. And then, when they get into that final layer with Gabriel Bolivar's area, it's lit so perfectly, and they have the orange eyes, and I was like, this is unsettling. And they're basically like, it's time to fight, and Satrakian's basically just like, leave him alive! Let's do this, because he's so cool!
West Coast bounces!
Tracking and all of them, they're throwing down with the vampires, and it's awesome. And the only complaint I have with that is Eichhorst. Eichhorst is useless in this fight. He enters the battlefield and he's like, oh, hello, woodcarver, or no, that was the master, but whatever. Eichhorst comes in, and I'm like, oh, they are about to throw down hard, and you see Fett, and he's basically just like, let's do this. And you're like, oh, and then they just start shooting him, and he's like, tsh, 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 tsh. Ooh, and he just starts walking towards them, and he's getting his butt handed to him royally, and I'm like, use your vampire skills you've displayed previously in these episodes. And he doesn't, and that's my only complaint about the final throwdown, is they could have had a really epic spot with Fett and the blonde hacker girl, like, fighting Eichhorst, and, you know, as Satrakian and F are moving up towards to fight the Master. Finally, they reveal him and the Master shows up. And I love this scene because ultimately Satrakian's like, it ends here. And you can see it. And they're fighting, and Satrakian is not winning. I mean, he's holding his own as much as a professional vampire hunter in his 80s can. But F and him, they realize that they can break the windows and the sunlight comes through. And that was so crazy intense and cool, because you'd see the beam of light come down, and then the Master, like, moving with this unnatural speed is, like, swishing around as Satrakian's just, like, swinging his sword. He's like, the windows, take them down, and stuff. And ultimately, I knew it was coming in the book. And my girlfriend had not read the book. And so the reaction was still the same. Is all of a sudden they hit him out the window. And F and Satrakian are just looking. And you see him burning, but he's not dying. And my girlfriend both and I are like, what? As he gets up and he's just moving away in the sunlight. Just only like fizzling a little bit. And you're just like, what? And he gets away. And I was like, oh! And that was really the kicker. That's the big thing at the end of the first one, is why didn't Sunlight kill him? And Satrakian basically says it. We lost. You just realize that this just got a whole lot bigger, because the Master doesn't need to necessarily move around in pure darkness anymore, and that is very bad news for our hero. The season ends, you see everyone on a low note, F starts drinking again, and everyone is set, and you have an epic monologue from Satrakian to end the season, and then basically at the end of it, it's like The Strain, Season 2, coming in 2015. And you're just like, and that is just not a bad thing when a show makes you want another episode after the season ends because you want to binge watch it, and I want Christmas specials, I want all of that stuff. Okay guys, so since The Strain Season 1 is over, I'm going to cover Strain production news, so as like casting announcements happen or anything like that. Until then, I'm going to keep just basically updating you, doing other TV shows. I hope you guys stick around for Season 2. Please watch Season 2 of the show, because you have no idea how cool it is. For me, was something, when I read it, there was basically no hope of any other media happening for it, and then all of a sudden it was happening, and it was like, greatest thing ever. Merry Christmas to me. Guys, as I said, I was going to do something special. I want to show you, because I remembered I did this. When I finished reading the first Strain book, I was like, I have to do something about this. This has inspired me. It was played on, like, it was well received. I did a little experimental short, and it was a black and white neo-noir piece in the vein of The Strain. Ah, that rhymed. But it was played on some weird radio station thing. I don't know any more details about that. Really well received. I played it at a couple little screenings with a film school, but it was really well received, and it was done in the style of The Strain. I did it at 4 o'clock in the morning. It was like 12-degree weather, but it was basically a Strain short film, at like 3 minutes long. There's not really a narrative, but it's an experimental piece, combining a few different things. So guys, I'll put it on here, not just a link in the description. If you want to see more short films from me, go to Monster Productions 27. I hope you guys stick around for Season 2 of The Strain. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more news. Love you guys.
I was told to come here. I was told to come find this and observe this inexplicable anomaly. And now I wish I hadn't. Sometimes I wonder, who's the monster? When does a man know he's a monster? When he's being hunted? Or when he's hunting? Or is it when people wish to study you, because you're different? The feeling you get when you see that someone can go through this is unbearable. I just want to help, but how?